All right, let's do this. Today, we're jumping into the automotive time machine, and we're setting the dial straight back to the 1990s. We're gonna go on a deep dive, a real historical dig, to uncover some seriously cool cars that just somehow missed the spotlight. Let's get into it.
You know, the 90s were an absolute golden age for coupes, no question about it. When you think of that era, what comes to mind? The Toyota Supra, right? The Nissan Skyline GTR, the Acura NSX. These were the poster cars. They were the undisputed titans that completely defined a generation of performance.
But here's the thing, for every single icon that became a legend, there were dozens of other ambitious, sometimes strange, and often brilliant cars that just kind of faded away. These are the cars that were packed with bold ideas and futuristic character, but they never quite hit the big time like their rivals. And they are the stars of our explainer today.
Okay, first up we have a car that looked like it drove straight out of a sci-fi movie, the Subaru SVX. And look, this was not just another Subaru. This was a high-concept piece of rolling art designed by the absolute legend Giorgetto Giugiaro. We're talking the same guy who shaped icons for Ferrari and Maserati.
I mean, the sheer ambition behind the SVX was just incredible. Subaru threw everything they had at this thing. A super smooth flat-six engine, their signature symmetrical all-wheel drive for insane grip, and that wild window within a window canopy that made it look like a jet fighter. On paper, this was the future.
But here's the fatal flaw. That futuristic vision came with a pretty futuristic price tag, which put it up against established luxury brands. And while that design was absolutely stunning, it was maybe a little too out there for most buyers. So sales just never took off, and the SVX became one of automotive history's most fascinating and beautiful missteps. So while the SVX was all about styling, our next car was all about technological dominance. Get ready for the Mitsubishi 3000 GT. This thing was Mitsubishi's moonshot, a straight-up attempt to build the most advanced sports car on the entire planet.
And you can see that ambition right in the hardware. The top-of-the-line VR4 model was just a rolling showcase of 90s tech. It had active aerodynamics that would adjust as you went faster, four-wheel steering for better cornering, all-wheel drive, and an electronically controlled suspension. It was a complete spec sheet monster.
But here's the catch. While it could absolutely go toe-to-toe with the Supra and Skyline on paper, all that tech made it incredibly heavy and complex. It felt more like a big, powerful Grand Tourer than a nimble sports car, which is exactly why it was so often overlooked by the purists. A brilliant car, for sure, but maybe one that was just a little too clever for its own good.
Now, this next one, this car has a very different and super dramatic backstory. This is the Ford Probe, and it was born from controversy because it was originally developed with a really shocking mission. It was supposed to replace the legendary Ford Mustang. See, Ford's vision for the future was modern, it was efficient, and it was sleek. And the Probe, which was developed with a ton of expert help from Mazda, really embodied this. It had this slippery aerodynamic body, and it was built on a modern front-wheel drive platform. It was literally everything Ford thought the next generation of car buyers was looking for. But they kind of forgot about the Mustang's incredibly passionate fan base. When word got out that Ford was planning to replace their V8 rear-wheel drive icon with a front-wheel drive coupe, oh man, the loyalists revolted. Ford had to back down, they kept the Mustang, and they just released the Probe alongside it, which left the poor Probe without a clear identity or purpose.
Monuments to an era of fearless experimentation. They proved that the 1990s were about way more than just the famous icons we all remember. It was a time of really bold risks and incredible what-ifs.
So that brings us to the end. Looking at this whole lineup of ambitious, flawed, but totally unforgettable machines, it really leaves us with one question. If you could grab the keys to any one of these forgotten heroes for a drive, which one would it be? Let us know what you think. Thanks for joining us.